It just got a little bit hot in here, so I had to open one window, and apparently the weather forecast says today that it's going to be unusually amount of wind, so you might hear a bit of rustling in the trees and that kind of thing, but hopefully it will just add to the atmosphere. What we have left of this long episode is a book review and my acquisitions. So I'm going to start off with the review, and the end of it will just be stuff I have purchased in Scotland and otherwise. You can see why I need the machine, right? Anyway, the review is of a new Norwegian knitting book. This is Ruter og Lus, and I'm sure you're wondering, how did I get by this book when I don't live in Norway? Well, they very kindly offered to send it to me for review. And I wish this was always going to be the case, because I always panic whenever an amazing knitting book in Norway comes out and I have to wait until I can go there, until I can buy it. So I am so thrilled to have this in my hands right now, and I don't have to be like itching with curiosity, because there is another book that's come out that I really do want to see. So, Ruter og Lus, what is the story here? Well, this is released by Salhus Tricotagefabrik, which is where they host the Bergen Knitting Festival, but the location is actually a kind of museum. It used to be a factory for knitted textiles, so they didn't make yarn, but they turned the yarn into a machine-made clothing, particularly in this kind of style with very simple pattern repeats. It was unfortunately shut down in 1989, but they have since kept it as a museum, as a kind of witness of the Norwegian textile industry, and it is in a beautiful location. I'm going to show you a little bit, some photos. So it's a bit of a retro knitting book, this one, but it has really been modernized, and there's a lot of these trends, you know, that are coming back again. So this is photos from the factory from way back when, with the people working there, and yeah. These photos, they really tell you all you need to know. There's a lovely location at the fjord, you know, it's Norway, and women with the machines making garments and things and stuff. It's a good example of the kind of things that they would make. Another example, so you can get a good sense of what this book contains. It's a very particular style of knitting, so there's more garments. In case you're confused now, this is a factory that did machine-made garments, and I've obviously bought a machine. However, all these patterns are hand knitting patterns, just to make that clear, given we've kind of become a both hand knitting and machine knitting podcast. Goodness me, who knew that I would take that turn? So before I show you the individual patterns, I will talk a little bit more about the book. It has a huge focus on Norwegian wool, which I love. I absolutely love that. The first mill they mention is Hillesvåg, which is not too far away from Salhus, and the second mill they mention is Rauma Fabrik, and both of these are my favorite. You know, Hillesvåg are the ones that do all the pelt wool that you can now get at Ysolda, Knit with Attitude and Midwinter yarns here in the UK. I believe there's more of it coming to the woolly thistle in America. I'm again just mentioning this because people always ask me where they can get stuff. I don't want to be an advertisement, I'm just saying, anticipating questions. And yeah, Rauma, you're starting to see more and more places. Like I came across the whole Rauma yarn wall in Munich, and there's Rauma in Spastrico, again, woolly thistle, Ysolda's shop, everywhere in Norway. So I'm really happy to see this focus on Norwegian wool. They do also mention Sandnes Fabrik. They make lots of yarn. They're one of the biggest mills in Norway, and lots of people use their yarns. It's highly available. You can get it from SKD Yarns. I guess my only hang up about them using that yarn, they do mainly focus on fritidsgarn, Per Gynt and Tove, and Tresko, which is kind of their rustic yarns that are probably or definitely Norwegian, depending on the labeling, because Sandnes do get a lot of their fibers from abroad. And I got a bit confused somewhere in this book, because they did say that, oh, some of the samples in here are made with their alpaca yarn, as though their alpaca is Norwegian, which is, as far as I'm aware, is not. So that could have been a bit clearer for those that really do care about the focus on Norwegian sourced fleece, which I guess someone buying this book would. So that was a byline that I just noticed, because I'm so detail oriented, it's going to give everyone a nightmare. So just be clear on that. The main sources of Norwegian wool will be the 100% wools from Rauma, Hillesvåg and Sandnes. So most of the yarn from Hillesvåg that are 100% wool, I think it's like just their carded yarns that are not Norwegian. But I'm going to talk more about the book and not just about the yarn they recommend. They don't only have a huge, amazing focus on Norwegian yarn, they have worked with indie designers to make this book, which I think is so exciting. So it's not just like, oh, this usual Norwegian publication where they have lots of anonymous designers that just happen to have designs in here and you don't know who they are and you just assume that this company has come up with the designs themselves. Like, this is how patterns are being sold in Norway, so that is kind of what you would expect from a book that you could just pick up in any bookshop like this. But no, they have worked with indie designers, and I think that is so cool, and I definitely want to see more of that and crediting of indie designers. What I would love to see more of in this book, if they were going to take it a little bit further, which I would have loved to see, this is the mention of the designers. This section here, this much. That's not a lot. I would love to read more about each designer than this. Not just like a paragraph of this size, but I would like to read... I mean, really, if I could choose, I'd read a whole page about them each. But I understand there are like space restrictions and like there's a limitation of how much people really care. But really, give them a proper, like, you know, good section. I would love to see a bit of length of what they've done. I'd like to have a little photo of them, actually. I know that that's not common. Like, it's not like Lane or Pom Pom do that either. I just think that would be really nice. It would take it a step further in showing the acknowledgement of the people that have made it, which they've already done. But I will also say, like, okay, I'm going to show you one really beautiful design. This is the first design that comes up. It is so gorgeous. Then I'm like, okay, who designed it? Is it going to be on the flash page? Is it anywhere? No. It says Agat Dame against it, so lady sweater. Doesn't say the designer. I would love it for it to say the designer here. I can see it's a lady sweater. Who designed it? So then you have to go to the next page where there's more photos, and the next page, which is where all the metadata for the designers, it's the yarn and the sizes and the measurements and the gauge, and that's where it says designer at the very top, mind you. It says Siv Dyvik. So I know that, okay, Siv designed this wonderful sweater that I'd love to make. I just love it if it said that in the front. That's just me being very nitpicky, because I really couldn't find much negative to say about this book, because it's really nice. But I always feel like when I'm asked to review, I'm really, you know, I really like to present all the sides. For like future advice, like if I was going to sit around the board of people deciding like book number 2, if there ever were one, I would say put the designer name here. I want to see that coming up front. I want the work to be credited, which it has been. Again, it's a great book. So I'm going to show you some more of the designs now, because they are amazing. They're not all to my taste, but you know, most of them are, so it's certainly worth a purchase. I mean, had I not been sent this book, I would have totally bought it. So I'm kind of glad they sent it. This one is beautiful. It's quite long. It's designed by Kristin Viola Ødegaard, who is very well known for people who buy their knitting patterns in Norwegian bookstores. She has made a lot of books and is very good at reinventing old Norwegian colour work to become something new and modern. This is by Berit Løkken, who works for Hillesvåg. It is a very beautiful cardigan. I love this book, and this whole idea of it. It's just, yeah, more photos of it. I'm going to try not to spend this long on each and every design, because it's already shaping up to be quite a lengthy episode. There's a lot of cushions in this book. Just a lot of cushions. I don't know what's up with that, but why not? Love the colors on this and the fit of this. Oh my god. Again, the designer. I'm going to have to look a bit for it. Berit Løkken again. Well done, Berit. This one I love. Oh my god, I love this so much. I want this. Please, the world, make it for me. I mean, I might be able to like use the punch card on the machine and do it. No, we're not going to do everything with the machine, Ellie. I just want it. And the gauge is a bit on the tight side, which is why I'm like, machine, would you mind? I don't know how to use the machine. I don't know how to do raglan with the machine. Again, this was made by Siv Dyvik. She's done a lot of the designs in this book. There are a lot of male jumpers in this book as well, and there's a lot of sweaters that are both. And here are some designs by Diana Waller. There's more textures here, some more swatches, which you could try out. And oh my days, Diana's done this sweater, which is so beautiful. I can't put words to how pretty this sweater is. I just love it. I love the colors, I love the textures. It's called Opal. Try to show you a bit more without giving away the deets. I love it. And so yeah, Diana Waller, I had the fortune of meeting her in London this week, which was so nice. She was here just for the Saturday and we just hung out, and that was really nice. Like seriously, I have been really fortunate with this whole Skeindeer thing, that I've gotten to meet people all over the world. I've been to all sorts of events and I met all the people that I would like to meet, except some, for whatever reason, just haven't met Jana until now. So that was about time, wasn't it? So that was super lovely. And some of you may have noticed that Diana actually is listed as a moderator for my group on Ravelry, basically because she has always been super helpful in answering people's questions about Norwegian wool and knitting and patterns and understanding them, and wool availability, and yeah, the constructions of things. And I then just wanted to give her that kind of a badge of authority so that people, you know, believe in what she says, because she's really knowledgeable. And if you haven't seen her YouTube videos, you should really check them out. She's got one on Norwegian wool that is perfect, actually, and she's got one on color work knitting, and discusses a lot of topics that I learned a lot from that video. It was really, really good. She just knows stuff, that woman. So very, very nice to see that she's part of this book as well. It's actually how I got to hear about it. So I was super thrilled when I was asked if I wanted a copy to review it from the Bergen Knitting Festival people, I believe. And now I'm just even more stoked to go to the Yarn Festival at the end of the month, because it's going to be at this location where, you know, it's inspired the entire book, and it's going to be like a fashion show with garments from this, and I get to see them in person. And I was like, yeah, I get to see knitted items in person. I'm excited about that. This is me, guys. Another thing I want to mention though, it's neither a plus or a minus. Some would consider it either. All the garments are constructed roughly the same way. It is the kind of constructions and pattern writing style you would expect from your average Norwegian publication. I say average as though, oh, so average. I don't mean that. I just mean like, if you pick up anything from Rauma, Sandnes, Dale, what have you, you will expect a certain type of construction. Things are start in the round from the bottom and knitted up. You do the front and the back usually separate. Some will suggest tweaking, some do not, and then you knit the sleeve bottom up and everything comes together. If it's a raglan, you obviously decrease them together, but if it's a sewn on sleeve, you sew on the sleeve. These are all made in the same formula. There's very little to show each designer's individual writing and design style. It's all very, very streamlined and samey, so it's sort of, I think for those who are coming from the more Norwegian traditional perspective of being used to the booklets from the big companies, they will find this, I was going to say a more smooth transition, but it's probably not even a transition at all. It's the writing style they will probably be used to. There's nothing top down here, you know, there's nothing with a new and an innovating construction method from the Norwegian point of view. It might be new to many of you who only do top down, who only do seamless, so that might be interesting for you to know. It's certainly a good look into how Norwegian knitting is usually done. Now, there will be someone asking me about translations, and the answer to that is that I don't know. I haven't heard anything about this being translated. As of right now, the answer would just be no. But being written in this condensed Norwegian style, you could buy it and really solve the issue of language with a simple translation tool, such as what has been offered by various sites, like I think Drops do something like that for free. So you really only need to translate a couple of words to understand it, because most of it is just numbers and they are the same. So I wouldn't shy away from buying this if you are comfortable with a bit of Google Translate and the odd dictionary. There's just reuse fewer words to write patterns in Norway, so there's just fewer words for you to translate, basically. And I'm sure this will be sold at the Bergen Knitting Festival and pretty much all Norwegian bookstores in the end. I mean, when I was in Norway, I found a cardigan knitting book in the post office. You know, they sell them everywhere. So that is all I have to say about this book. I am super thrilled to have received it. Like I said, I would have bought it, and it's great. I'm very thankful to have gotten to review it. I hope that gave you a good insight of what this book is. If you have any questions about it, I will try to answer it. So yeah, it's got garment patterns for any gender, really. There are some children's size garment in here. There are accessories. There are lots of cushions. kind of actually inspired me to want to design cushions. It's something I've thought about. I like knitted cushions, evidently, so maybe that's something. Anyway, I think I'm going to wrap up this review now. So thank you all so much for watching that. All we have left now is Aquisitions, and we just hope that my battery will stay with us because it's not fully charged. So a bit of a crinkle warning. This is a crinkle one. As I'm sure a lot of you will have heard already, Gynx yarn is no more. Laura has explained more about this in her podcast, but long story short, for health reasons, she has just worked on transitioning away from 7 years of dyeing to another job because she couldn't keep dyeing anymore for very good reasons. And it's very sad to really not have one of the greatest talents in dyeing with us anymore, but you know, she's gonna be doing other things. She's still alive, you know. I'm gonna miss her yarn and her talent. So I had to jump to her Etsy shop and pick up 3 skeins, and it would have been a nightmare to have this shipped to Europe. So luckily, again, my good yarn mule friend Shamika brought this over to me, and amazing Laura shipped this the same night that I placed the order. So it was with Shamika in good time before she went down to Perth, before most of us went there. So she brought this with me, and I can't thank her enough for bringing this to me. I haven't even opened the bag, so there's actually a Gynx cardigan. That's nice. I will put that on my wall and remember the best self-striping lady that I know, because honestly, nobody does self-striping like Gynx. Nobody has the patience to wind yarn on all those pegboards the way she does. Have you seen the videos? That's amazing. I mean, you could crank out a lot of audiobooks that way. I mean, I would get through a lot of them. So all of these are in the Strong Sock base of hers. I think that's what it's called. Strong Sock Self-Striping. This is the House Cup colorway, so I believe it's a Harry Potter reference. Oh, I can't. This is the Sugar Skull colorway, and this is Sketchbook, which is probably one of her legendary self-striping colorways because it's all shades of grey, and I really like that. I will admit, I was kind of thinking about that when I bought this from Wollerodel in Germany. I have 2 of that now, but now I have the proper one. I should say that, but you know what I mean. I will be savouring all of these. I'm not going to cast them on right away. I'll probably put them next to my London tube skein that I was given by the amazing Patricia of Lithography. One of those self-striping skeins that I'm just like, when I know I can make perfect socks, this will be knitted. So it is sad and bittersweet, but at the same time I'm at least glad to have had this nudge to finally order yarn from Laura. It's been a long time coming, and yeah, it's a bit sad, bit happy, you know what I mean. Laura, I wish you all the best. I do kind of hope you will stick around for the podcast and in the community, but I totally understand you'll have to put your priorities where your new job will be and stuff. But yeah, I want to see more kittens. Just kittens, and you know, thanks for 7 years of dyeing. Thank you. Now finally I get to talk about the festival I've been to and the travel I've been on. I took the train up to Perth, middle of the day, fairly relaxed, wander around King's Cross Station and picked up all the foods. It's really nice to kick off the day there. You get to see the Harry Potter shop, and it's never platform 9 3/4, but anyway, I got on the train. It's annoying that I was wrong side facing. I can live with that. Anyway, I got through a lot of knitting and had to change train in Edinburgh, got off at Perth and found my way to the hotel, which was the opposite side of the parking lot for the station, so that was convenient. Now, I have been to Perth twice before because a friend of mine lives in Crieff, which is the next village over. I mean, Perth is a smaller town, but Crieff is quite a small place, and their nearest station is Perth. So yes, I have been there before, once in 2015 and once in 2017. And yeah, the hotel room was really nice. They had like Ferrero-Rochers on the bed, so that was really nice. I ate them all right away. And then I located all the knitty people at the gin bar where they were ginning and knitting. There's something about knitters and gin. I don't know what's up with that, but yeah, lots of amazing people were there, and I got to meet, based on where I was at, I met with Tracy of Nora George, and yeah, one of my favorite people in the world, Amy of Stranded podcast, who, like I said earlier, just kept me sane throughout, because we both have the tendency of being quite overwhelmed with big events and people and stuff. And so yeah, we had a lot of fun and bought a bit of yarn, and I'm going to go through some of the yarn that we purchased. We both fell hard for the Aran sweater quantity packs from DyeNinja. Now, if you don't know DyeNinja, I believe it's a Scotland based dyer who makes amazing colors. I have one skein of her from before that I'm working up into my exploration station UFO. It's just a grey skein, and this time we could see all of her amazing colors. They're super saturated but deep enough that they're right up my alley. And what color did I buy? Oh look, great, I got charcoal. There's 8 Aran weight skeins in here. I thought, oh, this will be plenty for a garment, which it is. Any stockinette garment, this could get a very generous size. I want to do cables, and it's not enough to do a big cabled garment. So I don't really know what I want to make with this yet. I've had a lot of Ravelry searches, but quite frankly I have no business casting anything on right now, so I'm happy to put this into the deep stash. I'm also babysitting Amy's sweater quantity, which was in actually burgundy. Towards the pink side, a very bright burgundy. So we kind of swapped. She is usually the one who goes for grey, and I'm usually the one who goes for burgundy. But we just may have rubbed off on each other a little bit there. But the good news is, if either of us changes our minds, there will be something to swap with that we know we like. So, but yeah, I'm really happy with this. It's the Pilgrim colorway. It's the Merino Aran sweater pack. 100% extra fine pure merino with high twist. So it's less likely to pill, which is very good news. It's 1,520 meters altogether, so it can become something very substantial. It will obviously weigh 800 grams, if not more. Yeah, 920 grams, this whole thing, so it's nearly a kilo heavy. So I will have to want a kilo heavy garment. Yeah. But yeah, I would highly recommend DyeNinja's yarns based on the color. I did check out this yarn on her website later just to make sure I got the info right, and I will say the colors are just on a whole other level if you see them in person. So I do highly recommend seeing her colors in person if you get the opportunity. They blow your mind. They're really, really nice, and I'm so thankful that she helped us out choosing the colors, because I was really insufferable there. I was like, I don't know, do I want the blue, do I want the green, do I want the turquoise, do I want the different shades of red? And I went with charcoal. The first thing that greeted me at the festival was actually these bags. These are made in Harry's tweed textiles, and this was the bag I noticed right away. I really knew it was quite me, but I was like, no, it seems a bit obvious, I don't know, and then I bought it. It's pink on the inside. Zipper is a bit smaller than the actual bag, but that's alright. It's the, according to the label, this is the fabulous Mr. G. I don't know if there are more labels in here, but that might just be the name. No labels on the inside, so that's why I'm going to assume that they're called the fabulous Mr. G. It's a good size bag. I can fit a sweater in here, and it's in Harry's tweed, and for being made in Harry's tweed, I found this very affordable, so it had to come home with me. Although it's not next to skin friendly at all. But you know, it's Harry's tweed, it's some pretty hardcore stuff, and I'm very happy about this. I love having yarn based knitting bags, be it, you know, machine knitted or woven or what have you. I think that's just really cool. So that's a new project bag, because I definitely needed more project bags. Oh, I just remembered this book. This is something Shamika brought over for me. I should have already mentioned that. It's Norwegian Knitting Designs. It's a book I ordered to her address for November last year. But something had happened with the order, and I contacted the amazing Regia, and she was like, oh, I have no idea how this got missed, and I don't know why this wasn't shipped, but you should have it now. But this was just after I'd been to New York in January, so it came right after that. And so it's been sat with Shamika ever since. And here we have it. I finally have it. She brought it over for me, and there is a long story behind this book, so I'm going to try to keep it brief. This is a reprinted, more Americanized English language, obviously, translation, republishing of the very first book, commercial book written about Norwegian designs, that was released in the 1920s by Anniken Sibbenbøen. It was the first time it was documented, the Salhus, the Satistar garment. It was really the, like, we have so many knitting books now that are all about Norwegian knitting, but this was really the first. It looked quite different. I wonder if there's a photo of the original. yeah, this was the front cover back then. So you can really only get it from America now, and you can really only get it in English, unless you're lucky in a thrift store and you can find the original. It's full of beautiful charts that you can be sure are traditional. I love this mitten. It does come with a chart for it. I have been tempted to like kind of try to rework the pattern and release it. I am just unsure about charging for it and that kind of thing, because it would be a copy, but it wouldn't be a copy from anyone who's like alive and profiting from it. So I like the idea, but I would like to know what you guys think, any of you who absolutely, you know the Norwegian knitting tradition, and kind of what would be the best way forward with that, because it's like a mitten I would like to see coming back. So yeah, it's a beautiful book. It's not very big, but yeah, it was the first of its kind, and I'm very happy to have the reprinted edition, reworked by Regia, who's known to kind of rework Norwegian Sarbu mittens, kind of coming from an American point of view, with a lot of people emigrated from Sarbu to America, which I think is why this resonates so much with so many of my American viewers, because they have that Sarbu heritage. Anyway, back to Perth. I picked up 2 chiaogoos needles, because you can never have too many chiaogoos needles. I am obsessed with them. The fixed 80cm circulars. I need them in every size and then some. I just use them all the time. So I got 4.5 and 4. This is something I've just been looking for in my needle stash lately, so it seems like a thing that I needed. I also picked up a black skein. Me and Amy actually ended up buying the same of this. We both had the same idea that we just needed contrast yarn for heels, toes and cuffs for whenever that's necessary. I think this will look beautiful with my Gynx sock yarns. It's the same base, it's just black, and it's by DyeNinja, who probably had the coolest booth in the festival. I can't really put my finger on to why, I don't know, it spoke to me. It is 75% superwash merino and 25% nylon. It's their super sock base with 425 meters. It's fairly high twist, and yeah, deep black, which is quite hard to find with hand-dyed yarns. This was one of my struggles early when I was just discovering hand-dyed yarns, and I was already fairly accomplished knitters, but I only used commercial yarns, and I found that I couldn't find neutrals. Like, I couldn't find whites and unbleached skeins or blacks or anything to offset the bright speckled variegated colors. So I'm really glad we are seeing more of that now. I think it is because people are now using this kind of yarn more and more for color work, so it needs to cover the same needs that I had back then and still have. So very happy to have this. It's by DyeNinja. It was a lovely booth. Yeah, so I may have bought another sweater quantity, because 60 sweater quantities isn't enough apparently. I just counted over my sweater quantities in just Hillesvåg yarn, and I counted like 13. There's probably going to be more after I go to their mill at the end of the month. So. Anyway, this is Lammermuir. Pronunciation isn't my forte, but this is their logo. I looked at their yarn a lot on day one, and I hadn't really been able to make up my mind. There was like this pale grey that was really soft and looked quite fine, and then the other darker natural bases, they were not coarse at all. They were all very soft, but they were just a slightly different feel than the one I really wanted. So I couldn't decide, do I want the deeper color, the darker greys, or do I want the lighter grey with the feel that I was looking for? And then I found this, and it was the perfect compromise, because this is a natural black, so it's actually quite brown, and it's so nice. Oh, it reminds me of Corriedale, actually. There's something about it, but it's Shetland, called simply Shetland DK. It comes in 100 gram skeins, 240 meters per 100 gram skein. So I got several, and because I got 5, I was also given this one, which is a 25 gram skein. So I was thinking of doing like a single color thing. This would probably serve as a contrast color. It's got 62 meters, so it's not a lot, but it would be enough to just a simple border. So yeah, it might become like a yoke or something. I'm not sure yet, but happy to have this in my stash. It's a beautiful sweater quantity. Like I said, not at all superwash. Looks to me like it's woolen spun. It feels amazing. If I could just have you guys feel this, it's so lovely. It actually says wraps per inch, which is 10, which I love. I think more people should use wraps per inch, but in order for me to understand wraps per inch, I suppose more people would need to use it for that, because I don't really get it yet, but it's like, yeah. It smells nice too. Oh, I love this yarn. I love it so much. And now, this is not a sweater quantity, although it may look like it because there are 4 skeins. It is DK weight. Had I bought for a 5th one, it probably would have been. But I'm thinking a shawl. I want a big DK weight shawl, and this is a lovely yarn. It's their Blueface Leicester plus black Blueface Leicester. That's what it says. It's by Midwinter yarn, so they dye it themselves, and they are very, very good eggs. I've always loved Midwinter yarns. I mentioned them earlier this episode, and I just love their selection of yarn, their focus, very much about trying to recreate a bit of a Scandinavian or Nordic yarn availability. They'll have yarn from Norway, Sweden, Finland, among others. They do pelt wool, and they do their own Blueface Leicester, which I do believe is probably British. 232 meters per 100 grams. Yeah, they have their little logo because it's a Welsh wool apparently. So yeah, not quite enough to be a sweater quantity, because I'm thinking I want this to be some kind of neckwear, a big shawl wrap, something. It was hard to choose colors, but for some reason the blue spoke to me, so that's just what had to come on with me. Don't know what it's gonna be, but you know, one day. So that is all I have to say about the festival. That was all the shopping. I had a good time. I met a lot of good eggs. It was good to see people that I know vending there. And my class, I was a tutor there as well. I wasn't just there for the podcast lounge, I was a tutor, and it was a very different class for me. I have done sort of hands-on classes before. I have taught cyber mittens several times, and I have taught cast-on techniques. This was more of a, I am talking and you try techniques every now and then. It's not full on, you just try new things all the time for 3 hours straight. I made sure we were mainly just talking. I was talking, and I had made handouts, and I made them last minute, print them last minute, found it not, my printer was broken. I was a little bit nervous, and my class was wonderful, and they seemed so pleased with everything. They were the ideal class. They were curious, they asked very good questions, and I'm not supposed to review them, but like, you know, every teacher have their like ideal class, that if I get these students I will make the best class, and it was kind of like that. I really would like to do this type of class more. I can talk about one of those things I feel very strongly about in knitting, and it's like kind of reclaiming your project, not just letting the pattern dictate what you do, but just modifying everything. And that was what the class focused on. It was about you know, turning a bottom-up garment top down if you want it to be that way, or casting it on provisionally and right in the middle of the work, if that helps you figure out what you want for your body, putting in decreases and increases strategically where you want them, calculating at what frequency, calculating based on gauge, on row gauge, all those things. It was kind of like a designer class, but more focused on modifying. So assuming you already have a pattern that you just want to make tailored to you, but not being a tailoring class either, because I'm not a tailor, I'm not going to pretend to be, but it's more of an accessible approach to these are the modifications anyone can do. Here are the modifications I did when I was a brand new knitter, didn't like my third sweater or something. So that was the topic, and it seems to really hit home with my attendees. You guys were awesome. Thank you so much for coming. I had a blast, and it was so nice to get very supportive messages and posts on Instagram tagging me, saying how happy you were with it and how inspiring you found it. I can't really tell you what I meant. That I could give you a whole story about like why that was the best outcome. Yeah, I want to do that kind of thing again. I think the hands-on classes aren't quite for me. I like doing them to some extent, but you can't really, at least for me, doing it for 3 hours straight, just be like, oh, I'll show you, oh, you have to wait while I show this person, and then do that all the time. My strengths are probably more babbling and talking and having responses from people and us bouncing off each other a bit that way, and that's what we did, and it was really, really good. And it helped that the hotel gave us a refreshment, so that was pretty good too. And I brought up all my jumpers up there, and we can look at the various modifications I've done throughout my kind of knitting journey as a hand knitter who just knits from various patterns and always wants to modify. Can't really help myself from modifying. Yeah, that was the class. It was really good. And so I am going to wrap up the Perth talk now, but there will be a bit of a vlog. Hopefully at the end of this video, if not a bonus, I'm not sure. It will all depend on the editing process, but you will see it because you are, you know, watching already, and you will be in the future. So, more acquisitions. So after Perth, I went to Edinburgh, because you can't go to Perth and not go to either Edinburgh or Glasgow, and I haven't been to Glasgow yet, so maybe I should have done that. But I went to Edinburgh and I went to the Ysolda studio, which I've already told you, and I bought some yarn. I bought 5 of this. So you have seen this before. I bought lots of this in Oslo, so much that they didn't have anything left, so I asked a good friend if she would mind going there and pick up more in that dyelet. They were completely sold out, so I got it from there. So it may not be the same dyelet, but it's like hardly dyed at all, so I don't think that will be a problem. So I'm going to try to rework this pattern so that it will be done by the end of the month. Yay! I'm not stressed. Are you stressed? Oh, forgive me, I know you didn't come here to hear about my struggles, so let me tell you more about my purchases, because I bought one more thing from the Ysolda shop. These bags, and they're actually made by someone who has a studio in the same kind of storage building, which is a really lovely building. They're so lucky to have that space. It was like well lit. They had it tidy despite what they said. They had an amazing selection of yarn. They are working in a candy shop. They even had their own personal stash up on the wall, which is like the most modest stash I've ever seen. Funny enough, like the bit that was Rebecca's stash was the bit that I like coerced her to buy, so no one's immune to this Skeindeer enabling. I don't know, I just found that very amusing. So this is Anna Wright bags. They got sheep on them. You can get them in this Ysolda web shop should anyone ask, and it's got a bit of a plasticky interior, which I guess I'm not a huge fan of, but the outside is so beautiful. I'm like, look at that. And it's got patterns from the oh my god, I forgot what they're called, you know, the traditional Sanka gloves from Scotland. So these are like Sanka glove patterns, which you also find in Gotland patterns, fascinatingly. They also come up somewhere in Norway, but I mainly associate these with Gotland, but no, they're very much common in Sanka gloves. I like that. I think that's really cool. It kind of shows the sea pathways between all the coastal places in northwestern Europe, and I love how knitting can document that. It takes you back in time, and it's really cool, and I can talk about that forever, but let's move on. The very last purchases I made was at MacAree Brothers. We did pop by Kathy's Knits as well in Edinburgh. Kathy was unfortunately not there, but we were received by another wonderful lady whose name I completely blanked on, even though I read it this morning. I'm so sorry. But you were absolutely lovely and helped me out with finding out stuff about unlabeled yarn, so thank you. I always enjoy going to that shop. Kathy's Knits in Edinburgh is great. I also stopped by Be Inspired Fibres, which is at the other end of town, and I also love going there. The shopkeeper is super awesome. She stocks a lot of yarn that I love, but I kind of had to restrain myself for, like, you know, luggage restrictions. So the only thing I did end up buying was 4 Regia skeins from MacAree Brothers, which is like a chain shop that you will find a lot in Northern Europe, Northern UK. They do a lot of commercial brand stuff like Theodore, Rowan, Regia, James & Smith sometimes. Yeah. I got some of these because you can never have too much Regia. I love doing colorwork socks with them. They are very easy to substitute for if you want to use hand-dyed yarns instead. They kind of work up the same way. Good sturdy yarns. I've heard reputations that both Regia and Opal have dropped in quality the later years. I don't like that, but I haven't found that myself. I do know that my Regia socks from back when I was in Scotland in 2015, they are still holding up and I wear them to death. But yeah. The only time they broke was when I snagged on a nail on the floor. Other than that, they're holding up beautifully well. So still, I have no reason not to trust Regia, as I got these, and I also got an Aran skein. I looked for this one for a long time, but it looked like they stopped making it. And this is like not really a Christmas base, but kind of, because if you look at it, that looks very festive to me. And you know, Amy Florence is doing her festive Sockalong, and I want to take part. I mean, I already have my very festive self-striping skein from West Yorkshire Spinners, which is in like green, white and red, but if I can get around to do another one. And I am very curious about the perfect yarns. I don't know quite how they work, if any of you have experience with them, because I'm like, I can sometimes, I don't know, I would say I use about 70 grams of yarn for a pair of stockinette socks. I'm just completely estimating now. I know I use over 50 grams, but I never get near 100. So am I supposed to use the entire skein? It's gonna be very big socks. So I'm gonna, and do I knit them toe up, cuff down? Does it matter? Pull from the inside out? It probably is gonna tell me on the skein, to be honest. I don't know why I'm asking you guys. It's kind of lazy of me, sorry. Yeah, still need to figure that out. I might have a go at the rainbow skein first that I got earlier. this one from Germany, because it's also perfect, but it doesn't seem to rely so much on where you put various elements of the yarn into the sock. It seems to just stripe the same way through and through, unless the orange is supposed to be like part of the heel there. I don't know. Anyway, kind of keen on these. Perfect, that's how they spell it. It took me a year to understand that pun, but there we are. I can't believe we reached the end of this. It was very chop. I was aware that there was a lot to get through. I hope it wasn't too hard for you, but obviously there's always an opportunity on YouTube to slow down a video so you can hear me talk like this. But you know, next time I'll be seeing you, I will be in Norway. I'm gonna be at my mom's flat babysitting all the 3 little bearded babies. I mean, the oldest one is like closing up to 15 years old now, but they are my babies. That's just how it is. It's lovely. Ronja and Amy and Cassie, and yes, Amy is totally Amy Florence is like spirit animal in a dog form, which you wouldn't expect, but they are surprisingly similar. So it will involve me sending lots of pictures of Amy to Amy. I'm not sure which way that will work. So yeah, I really am excited to see them all and hopefully photograph some of my mitten patterns from there. That's kind of part of why I feel a bit pressure to finish some things, because this is a nicer place to photograph obviously than London. But yeah, when I'm there I will be recording an episode probably, because Mom's not going to be there to disrupt me, because that's just how our dynamics is. So that's gonna happen. I can't promise I'm not going to buy stuff, but honestly it's me in Norway, it's like me in a candy shop. What can I tell you? But you know, I can blame I can just say, oh, I'll get through it on the machine. I was warned about this. I was warned that, you know, when you get a machine, you're just going to end up buying even more yarn, because you're like, I have a machine now. Nothing's going to stop me. And you keep buying cones, and I'm already a bit addicted to cones. So, and Hillesvåg will have cones. Oh dear. Oh dear. What have I done? Anyway, I look forward to go to Trondheim. If you're a knitter and you belong to any knitting group, please do let me know if anything's going on. I love to meet up with people. I'd really love to go to Fortuna, but it's way too far out for me. I really like to see if there's an opportunity for me to go there. I'm quite dependent on being with the dogs. I can't leave them for a full day, but I could leave them for like a work day. But I don't know how to get there, and that would be really cool. I'm just thinking out loud now, stuff I want to do. I'm probably going to end up doing nothing. I mean, hopefully working on my PhD and eating out from my mom's fridge and that kind of thing. I will see you there, and they will be all rounded up with a visit to Bergen Knitting Festival. So I'm gonna have to try to keep my suitcase fairly empty until then. It's gonna be a challenge, but yeah. So I won't be seeing you in London until the next month, and then we will be talking about the next pair of cyber mittens from the Cyber Mitten Club, so that will be exciting. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye! At last I can talk to you guys on this vlog. You've just seen me traveling randomly, and now actually I can say the things. I just arrived in Perth. This is the station hotel just opposite the station, thus the name. I don't know if you can hear a sound, a sizzling sound, because you know, when you arrive in a hotel room after traveling, what do you do but blocking mittens? So I got some mittens blocking in the sink, but I have to keep the tap running at a low thing, because otherwise the water runs out. The reason being, I should have finished these mittens already and have them sent to those publishing them. That's all I'm gonna say. And I'm behind. I should have done it last weekend, and yeah, sorry. But I'm gonna get them blocking overnight and hopefully have them shipped tomorrow when they are dry, because I don't know if they want to receive soaked mittens or damp mittens. So I know there's like a gin thing happening somewhere nearby that I might pop by if I can find the spoons, because travel, you guys. Although I will say it was rather pleasant, you know, trains are pleasant, and this was a rather fast one. So we were in Edinburgh after, you know, everyone on the train were in Edinburgh after 6:30, and we set off at 2, so it's pretty good, I think. I should go to Edinburgh more, it doesn't take that long. And now I'm just, you know, hopelessly waiting for Amy like a lost puppy, because I haven't seen her in a whole week. Good morning. Tis day 2 or day 1, I guess, technically. I don't know, I don't count well. I'm in Amy's room. This is Amy. Hi. She has like the queen suit in this hotel. Don't know why, but she's clearly the special one.
Clearly better than you.
We went out to the gin place yesterday, and we were just tired and moaning about how tired we were because we're old ladies. And now we're gonna go have. What are you doing?
Just videoing you video.
Okay, that's normal. That's very meta. Can't do this when I'm being filmed, which is odd. And so yeah, we're gonna have breakfast now because we're probably gonna moan about being tired again soon, and we're gonna go to the market, and that'd be good. And then I'm gonna be teaching my class. Yeah. What else did I have to say? I feel like I should just kind of do the usual apologizing for having not filmed anything last night before just going to bed. But, you know, it's probably gonna be a lot of that. Amy!
Doing a slow panoramic shot.
Oh, I see. I did it faster than you.
Yay! Skeindeer.
It's a bridge, and I'm gonna try to flip over this thing. And here we are with the sun in our face. We are just walking about in Perth to try to kill time, because when we left the hotel, we realized we were rather early.
I've got some
Can't
white
really
cake.
see it.
We've eaten pastries.
Yeah. Just catching up over lost time because we haven't seen each other in ages.
We did see each other last week. But apart from that.
I've been here before. I haven't been in this particular part of Perth in 3 years. It's kind of nice.
I've never been to Perth before.
Showing it around as if I
I'm
remember
really
stuff.
enjoying
I remember there was a yarn shop over there like 5 years ago, but it was gone when I came. But I've actually been there.
The water's moving.
It's really pretty.
Obviously it's moving.
So much sun though. What is the deal with the sun? Didn't come to Scotland to have sun. Smile!
Oh gosh, I'm really
I just real big.
Well, there you go.
Yay! Look at the food. Food.
This doesn't look like a sticky toffee pudding that I've had before. It doesn't look quite
pudding.
It doesn't look quite as sticky as usual, but whatever.
The place we're eating at is very fancy. It has a piano player, panel there. It's playing piano. That was the right way of saying it. Piano? Thank you. Can't talk. What else is new? The food was so good. Even though that was clearly not sticky toffee pudding, it was still a very good pudding. Good cakes. But yeah. The haggis was good, really good sauce. And now we're listening to some live piano music. There's Amy. Yay. Good morning. It is day... it's Sunday. It's easier to say the days than to count them, I reckon. I arrived on Friday, we're done on Saturday. Today's Sunday morning. And today is just gonna be a market day, just socializing, just having fun. No teaching, although I will say teaching was fun. I think this is the best teaching experience I have had. Pretty much all of my previous teaching have been fairly hands-on. Like either trying out color work and doing increases and decreases in color work, you know, for mittens. It's been doing cast-on classes, stuff like that. And this class was the first time I got to talk more than yeah, guide people's hands in their knitting. And I think that's way more for me. It was a bit of both, obviously it was a class, but yeah, I liked it. It was a good one, and people seemed really happy with it, and that kind of took me back a little bit. So I just thought I would say that while I'm still kind of a bit high on it all. So I'm now gonna go harass Amy to make her come join me for breakfast, because this hotel gives us breakfast. We didn't get haggis for breakfast last morning, so maybe today. It's Sunday after all. It should be something special. Oh, and that restaurant we went to yesterday, so good, such amazing food. And they had a piano player, a pianist, and he was playing music that I actually have in my own music library. It was a music from the Amelie score, and it was music from Niels Fram, who's a pianist from Germany, who I really enjoy. So that was quite nice, a nice surprise. But yeah, more yarn. I didn't buy much yarn yesterday. I bought one full black sock yarn skein for heels, toes and cuffs. I bought one purple mini for the heel and toe of my tits out self-striping nomadic yarn sock that Shamika brought me over from the States, because I ordered that to her address and that was the thing. And I bought 2 chiaogoos needles that I felt like I needed. And I bought a Harris Tweed project bag, and that's it. But there might be a sweater quantity or so today. I don't know. I make no promises. There we are. Hello. Oh, everyone's showing.
Scotland.
We've been in Edinburgh the whole day.
Yes, and we're heading the Chin Chin Twist.
Never mind raining.
Yeah.
We are.
It is raining.
Yeah, we're trying to make it there before we are sold. Still.
So they kick us out.
That too. And then what we're gonna do later today?
We're going to Aquisitions midnight.
Breakfast in currently. It's a really cool place. Yeah. It's really nice. They don't have tennis scones, a bit let down, but we do get some more haggis. Yes. So good. We love haggis. Then we're gonna go buy yarn. Yay!